Why is a PA18 SuperCub called Super? I don't see a Super 737 or a Super Cessna. Welcome back to the reaction review, and let's see what's so special about the SuperCub and what you can do in X-Plane to challenge yourself if you're getting bored. No, not that Cub. We're talking about the one coming up. We're going to finish where we're starting today, and we're going to go very, very high up. We're going to go to an elevation of 9,337 feet above mean sea level. Now, the most common question is, where did I get the scenery? I have left a link below, and it's free. And you know, for free, it's pretty damn good. The most important thing for me, at least, is the slope of the runway, and it's all quite accurate as much as I can ascertain. There's Luka Airport there. So that's not what we're actually reviewing. We're reviewing the SuperCub today. This SuperCub is by Aero Simulations. I've left a link below to where you can purchase it safely. It is the current version supporting X-Plane 11. It has 3 individual flight models, which is more than I bargained for when I bought it. It has a 150 horsepower SuperCub with separate flight model for Tundra tyres and standard tyres, a 180 horsepower engine with a constant speed propeller with Tundra wheels only. It also has floats. Aero Simulations have paid very large amount of attention to those tyres. I'll come back to those later. Let's have a look inside. Hello, Susie.
Hello.
Ah, look at you sitting there all confident like, I may have a job for you later. That big white card there is a CO2 detector to tell you when you've got carbon monoxide poisoning and you're unconscious. Look at the inside, it's absolutely fantastic. The reflections are really good, and they've spent so much detail in this cockpit. Here's the switches for your landing lights, taxi lights, and your master on, your alternator, etc. We're going to have a look at that later. And it's a really well done cabin. I cannot wait to try this in virtual reality, I have to admit. This is what I really like about this model, is the Tundra tyres. Yes, we're going to be giving those tyres quite a workout today, I can assure you. The model of this aircraft simulates everything. They burst, they wear, they get broken, the engine breaks, the plugs foul, and the animations on those landing gear is really, really very good. I mean, I've been trying to start this aircraft and I've had problems because I didn't do it right. So let's have a look and try and start it. I'm going to do it a little bit of the wrong way on purpose so you can see how it behaves. Again, you can see the inside of the cockpit there. They've paid attention to everything. There's a fuel gauge there and a little light for the back. See the little red ball? There is the fuel gauge to the right side, and of course that's empty. See? There's a little red ball down towards the empty well. We don't know if it's empty or not because it's a quarter of a tank at least or less. So here there's a switch there. We'll play with those later on, but everything I can find except for the circuit breakers work in this aircraft. And let's see, let's have a look at the menu here. I just want to show you they have checklists here, so you don't have to root around the internet for a checklist, which is nice and dandy. And of course there, the ceiling is about 21,000 feet, the absolute ceiling. I'm going to try and get higher than that later on, hopefully. Here is the, okay, I've done that, mass and balance. Now I'm going to take a bit of fuel out of this, but the mass and balance works very, very well, just like in an actual operating handbook of a PA18 SuperCub. So that you can do all sorts of things with that. And look at the way it changes the balance when I took the fuel out. It actually, the physics of this is really, really very good, I have to say. Now let us, and what am I going to do next? Okay, the fuel is good. See, the fuel's gone up on the right side. Let's have a look at the walk around. They have a little walk around feature here, which is also very good. It tells you if things are worn or not, etc, etc, etc. There's the tires there. It's a little bit worn, and then we have all sorts of other bits and pieces. I won't bore you to tears with it, but for you techies out there, you can do a nice walk around. And it's actually, you know what, I have to tell you, this is almost a study level sim. If you're going to fly the SuperCub, you can hop in, see where all the switches are, etc, etc. So it is really, really very, very detailed indeed. Now this is a bit unlike, this is your mechanics report, okay? You can fix things in here because things break, and you can only fix them when you land and shut off the engine, which makes video editing very difficult, I can assure you. So look, I'm fixing the tires there, and they're all, oh no, I have to go back up and fix them. So yeah, I love that bit, I really do. I think it's fantastic. So you can fly the aircraft as real as you like. As you can see here, I'm just flicking through, you see there it's gone all green, so the tires are fine. Starting the aircraft, and I'm not going to bother with the automated start because that's just not simulation like. There's the fuel in the fuel tanks, and let's start flicky, flicky, switchy, switchy. We'll turn on the battery and the alternator. The fuel pump, maybe I don't need it, but let's just have a look anyway. I've got the fuel selector on, the magnetos are on, and let's just put some throttle in. Now put in a little bit of mixture there, you see that? Now let's try and crank it off, if I can find the button. There we go. There, see, I've got a little bit of mixture in, it's not going to start, so I've got to keep the mixture out. So you've got to actually keep the mixture all the way out. Just leave it at full throttle. See, if I put it in, it's not going to start. See, so you got to wait till the engine kicks off first. Okay, one more time. See, it's not easy. It's just like the real thing. Come on. Now it's going to start because I've leaned it entirely. So you've got to lean the mixture entirely. There we go. Kicks off. In with the mixture. Back with the throttle. Now I've left the mixture lean because we're at 9,300 feet. Okay, I've just put in some winds there, just about 25-30 knots, just to, I don't know, spice things up a bit. So let's see how short this aircraft can take off. Okay, my rudders again are a bit messy, so forgive me, and off we go. Yeah, look at that. Just add a bit of power and it goes straight up in the air. That is insane. And this is why I bought this aircraft, for short field landings. Now let's see if I can put it back down. Okay, I just keep it on the center line if possible. Let's see the windsock, is it to the right? There we go. It's a little bit veering right and left, or backing and veering. So yeah, let's see if I can put it down. A lot of rudder action here. Not too much though. Come on, and down we go. I've flown one of these before, but not like this, because when it's windy, it's dangerous. So let's see if I can put it on. Leave a little bit of power. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Come on, those big Tundra tires are like big cushions. There we go. I like it. I like it. Okay, so I'm going to take it out and I'm going to... Okay, so I took it out. I'm speeding this up. I was throwing it around. The engine kept stopping because we're so high, and I had the engine too hot and it was failing. And this time I was really throwing it around, positive and negative G's. And guess what happens? Guess what happens? And I was trying so hard to get a particular...
Brilliant.
Yeah, I wasn't happy at all. I was trying so hard to get a clip where I could do some fancy landings, but unfortunately the engine failed again. So I just kept this clip just to show you that stuff will go wrong if you don't treat the aircraft right. It really does. And there's all spark plugs foul up if you don't clean the mixture. It'll overheat if you don't clean the mixture properly. The tires burst, etc, etc, etc. But to my surprise, I was still angry. I was still quite angry. I brought it, because I have the headwind, I brought it to, look at the windsock to the upper right of the cowling there at the end of the aircraft. So I had a nice headwind and I was trying to do vertical landings, and I haven't done that in flights before, but it can be done high up where it's safe. But
that's just fucking dandy.
Yeah, so I was still quite angry. But I managed to nurse it down, and there's those big Tundra wheels, and there's all the smoke coming from the engine. No bother. So I took it out and I did some fancy stuff to see what it could do, and let's have a look and see. I know some of you are saying, well, that's impossible. An aircraft doesn't behave like that at all. This lad's only having a laugh. Well, let's see. Let's try and prove it. Don't be laughing too hard. Let's have a look at some real footage. Look at this lad jamming it down there in the Tundra on his Tundra tires. Yeah, look at all those big sharp rocks. Yeah. Look at this guy. I love this one. That is super, and that is why it is called a SuperCub. But let's make it more super.
And now for something completely different.
Now, what I really wanted to do is I wanted to put I wanted to land on the top of Everest in the SuperCub. Now, I wasn't going to do it, I was going to get Susie to do it, but I can't get beyond 25,000 feet no matter how hard I try. Well, that's because the air is too thin. So, I don't know what to do. I'm not going up there. I don't know if Susie can. Oh, SpaceX put cars in orbit, don't they? I wonder, could they push Susie in orbit above Everest? I wonder... Hey Susie, you suffered from hypoxia there earlier. You should be suffering from euphoria now. How are you getting on? I think the effects of hypoxia now, I know it's cruel, but look, she'd be stoned out of her box. She'd be lightheaded as hell, so she'd be fine. Oh shit.